Okay, we're going to draw some pansies, violas, but they are called pansies. And you can do that with either a circle or an oval. So we'll just see what happens. We can change it. I'm going to just make a kind of a wonky circle. That's okay. And then I'm going to put a dot right down here, which is where the center will be. Then I'm going to come out here with an S, kind of an S curve, which would be the bottom petal. And then we will be doing some erasing, but we're going to come up and come over and down and come in, which is one of the back petals. And then where you can't see it, behind this petal is another petal about the same size. I think I'm going to make this one bigger. That's what erasers are for. Okay, then we have the two side petals, and they will come out to about here. They're going to come out a little wider, but we're going to come up and back, and then they tuck under the bottom petal. So let's erase this line. This pansy is turning out to be more like a round one, but often these petals back here are taller, which makes them more oval. So back to the center, we're going to come up and go out. And these don't have to be perfectly straight, and tuck behind the bottom petal. Then let's erase this so it's easier to see and not be confused. So here's your second back petal, and we have a pansy. Now the bottom petal, I like to elaborate on it a little bit. I like to come down and maybe make it a little more interesting, not straight across like we drew our first one, the circle. So here we have it. Let's go over it again. We've made an oval or a circle, which, as you saw, did not have to be perfect. And then we did an S stroke down and an S stroke over to make the bottom petal. Then coming up, then we put a dot for the center, and then we made a big back petal. These are both big, large petals. So come up and go around. This one went that way. And then we're going to make a second large back petal. Now, you can proceed to these two and then just tuck a little note to the other back petal back there. I kind of like to make this so it really connects with that. But the second back petal, if you want to know the details, is big like this and comes around here like that. Then we're going to do the two side petals, and we did a big S again and came over. It was kind of like a big hookup. And these don't have to be, it depends on how the wind's blowing and how they've been watered and grown. So this is just like a perfect viola pansy. Okay, now let's add some leaves. They can have heart-shaped or elongated leaves that are not perfectly perfect points on the back. So they can have either kind. It depends on the variety. So I'm just kind of sketching these in, wider at the back and more pointed or narrow at the front. And I want to add a bud. Now the buds would come up from behind, from the big stem, and they would have a hook on them. They always have this shepherd's hook here. And then there is a sepal, which you can they're little green leaves, and then we can make, it can either be a tight bud or a starting to open bud. And I think I'm going to widen that out a little bit. Okay, there's our very first pansy. Okay, now this could be a bookmark. I've already cut the edge, and I'll do that over here too. I might round the top, and we'll put a little hole for a ribbon or a string. So I'm going to do one. Oh, I forgot to tell you. These petals have the white fuzz on them. And then there's an opening here, and usually there are markings here. And there are now these can be totally random. They can be single skinny lines, they can be very thick and solid, or they can be any length that you want them to be, and they just come out from the center. The little white mustache that we like to call it is on these back side petals. They're on the side petals. We often draw them down on this one, but that's not actually the way they are. And we'll put a little vein line and another little vein line. So that's a pansy. Now, if you're going, you can paint these any color that you want. There's like 400 different varieties, and I thought I had heard even more. And I'm going to just do that right now. We'll do a simple paint. And let's see, what color shall we paint this? Oh, I know. I want to try. I saw one that I really liked, and it was mostly purple and yellow orange. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's come over here with these. Move that. We have our palette paper here. And this particular, this is a very, very pretty pansy. And I'm going to use a little soft beat up brush here. And I'm going to put in the yellow first, the yellow orange, because I don't want it to interfere with the other colors I'm going to put on. So I'm going to come in here and get some yellow orange. And this is going to be applied in a rather light, watery technique. Whereas it's not exactly watercolor, but it's very thin paint. And I'm going to come down here, and I'm just going to, this color comes almost to the bottom. Isn't that pretty? And then some up on the sides here. Now, when you're doing your pansy drawing, please don't draw as heavy with the pencil as I did. It needs to be softer so it doesn't show up and you can erase it easily. Then this particular pansy is very interesting because it has a light bluish purple. So let's go into the purple. And I'm going to add some white. And I'm going to add some blue. Don't want to add too much. It's a very strong color, this blue violet. Need more white. I'm going to have to get some fresh white. Okay, a little bit stronger with the purple. I'm just mixing as I go here. Okay, there we go. Now this color, I'm going to rinse my brush, goes just beyond this yellow. It's on the top petals only. So let's get the color. It's going to just kind of touch here. Doesn't do it on the bottom petal, just along here. Then we go to a dark purple, meaning a pure, straight purple. I have some purple right there. Okay. And that's going to go beyond these, but not the back petals. So, same thing, just beyond the yellow, and try to break that up a little bit. Don't make it like a haircut. And beyond these, there's one more color out there. And that has magenta in it. So that's just a dabble of paint. Try to keep it rough. Now, on this particular pansy, it has single dark lines, not a blotch, as they are actually called a blotch when they have the dark markings. It's called a blotch pansy. Okay, now I'm going to rinse my brush and I'm going to go to magenta. I'm going to have to clean my brush because I've got a lot of magenta on it, and I'm going to put just a little purple in it. Not much. Purple's a very strong color as well. And then that color goes out here. And it goes on the other side as well, and on the bottom petal and the back petals. So here we go. There are so many colors of pansies and combinations. It's amazing. It's like a rabbit hole. You go down that hole and you think, oh, I got to do this one. I've got to do that one. And then on this one, we're going to bring in the color. And I'm going to go in with a little water on my brush. I'm going to go in this direction, which is the direction that you would expect the petal to be pointing. Got that a little dark there, so I want to even that out. Okay, and the back petal. Now we have to differentiate these petals a little bit because they look like one petal. So what we're going to do is we're going to shade behind one of them, and I'm just giving this a little bit more paint to bring up the color, the value. And while I'm at it, I think I'll do this one right here. Okay, now let's separate these two petals. I'm going to go back into this purple a little bit, just very lightly, and I'm going to just give it a little shade value right there. And we can also shade these out. I'm going to darken this purple a little bit. It soaks into the paper a bit, so sometimes you have to, oops, that's that other color. Sometimes you have to, I don't know if I can put the dark purple up here. Sometimes you have to do it twice in order to get the color strong enough. These are not watercolors I'm using. These are artist grade acrylics that are kind of a gouache, so they can be used on many kinds of surfaces. Practically all kinds of surfaces. And if you thin them down, you can use them as watercolor. Okay. All right, now I'm going to let that dry a second, and I'm going to go into some green. This is just a medium green. And I'm going to hold my brush low to the surface, and I'm going to swirl this color in. I am using Jo Sonja artist grade acrylics by Chroma. And this is a mixed media paper I'm working on here. Now that's lighter there, and that's fine. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go back up and scratch off some of this blue. Mix it with my green to get a darker green. Blot my brush over here on my paper towel that you can't see. And I'm going to just give a little bit of shading to the back end of these petals, maybe down the vein line. This is a simple drawing. It's not, you know, it's going to be a little bookmark. Now we do need to put in the sepals here. Oops, it looks like blue. Better get back to the green. And you could use a liner brush and really separate those. You can also outline this with ink. I realize I think I want to put a little vein line here. Not a vein line, but a separation of the petals on this bud. Now, I'm going to give this a little bit of a dark background here. The centers are often either orange. They can be orange, yellow, or even a green. The little hidey hole has a little surprise in there. And so I'm just going to go ahead and use the same yellow-orange. And this is probably going to soak in because that's still wet. Yeah, probably have to do that a few times. But I'm going to use my liner brush and I'm going to paint the vein, or not the vein, the stem on my little bud. Holding my brush upright for this job. Okay, then, let's see, there's a little air hole there. I think I better darken that. I'm going to darken up here to separate these petals, but I don't want to leave a line, so I'm going to swish that out and just keep it dark down here in the center. Right next to the very center where all the petals come together. Okay. And then I will use some white paint. Must get some more white paint in here. And I'm going to paint these. Then using my liner brush again, I'm going to make the markings on the face of the pansy. Got a lot of white in it. I've got to get it out. Okay. And I'm just going to use purple for that. It's almost black in the photo, but purple can be almost black when it's dry. So we're just going to make some skinny little lines. Keep your brush pointy. Roll it if you need to. Tap it so it's got a nice line. And then on the sides as well. Now obviously I have some pencil lines that probably won't erase, but this is for your instruction, so I think I'm going to come up and kind of outline this line here too. Okay, well, that's mostly it. Can outline these gently, the mustache if you want. Oops, I've got one more thing. We need a little bit of orange paint, and we have to finish the center. The orange is at the bottom. You can see a little bit of orange over here on my palette. I'm tapping my brush to a point, and it's right here as this opening occurs. And then this one has actually like a yellow-green center in it. And I have some yellow-green, so I'll just use it. Put it right there. Okay, that is your basics on a very colorful pansy. And you would let it dry and erase. You can add more shading here. Thank you for listening.